it's Omicron. Falcon hates puns and thinks that they're all wrong. One's American and one is an Aussie. Talking about StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Hello and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Anytime. Every time, in fact.
Ooh, every time.
Every time. It's like a tradition.
I will be holding you to that.
Okay. I'm sure I'll manage.
Yes. Quite possibly. Oh, so are we at the peak of the extreme weather differences between us? Like it's crazy hot here and it's crazy cold there?
Probably, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not terribly cold. Maybe this building's just much more well insulated than I thought it would be when I moved in. But it's just not super cold. I mean, it's wet and raining at the moment.
Yeah.
We had
Have you been outside today?
no.
Okay. So you don't know how cold it is out there then, do you?
Right, but I mean, like, there's windows open.
That's true. And I'm sure the internet probably tells you what temperature it is outside.
Exactly, I can look that up.
Yeah.
Says it is currently 54 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
well, 12 Celsius, if you're interested.
Yeah. So definitely not freezing, but definitely not comfortable. That's for sure.
No, I've got a hoodie on.
Yeah. I mean, not that hoodies aren't comfy, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, no, it's to keep warm.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
it's also
yeah.
comfortable. It suits two purposes. It's nice.
It's true,
Hoodies are
it's
amazing.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
the best kind of clothing.
I kind of miss my hoodie. I had to put
Yeah.
it away when it started getting blazing here.
You could just crank the AC up, like, or down, I suppose, and
That's
then wear a
true.
hoodie.
If I want like a $200 monthly electric bill, absolutely, I could do that.
You could do that, yeah.
I do not want that though, sadly. I don't know.
Okay.
If I go to the basement, it's cool enough that maybe I can get away with it.
Mm.
It's really incredible. Like I go down the stairs because that's where my projector is. That's where I watch the TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you can feel it. It's just you're roasty and toasty, and then you go down 15 stairs, and it's like, oh, it is substantially cooler down here. It's amazing. Below the
that's
ground
great.
is an incredible trick.
Yeah, keep it
Yeah,
cool.
no. Yeah. People
There's
used to, carve out cellars for keeping
Is it
vegetables
Cooper Pedy?
cool. And what now?
Cooper Pedy. I believe it's a town in Australia that's like an opal mining place, and all of the houses, I see houses, are mined out of the ground, so they're all underground houses.
Yeah.
And you just have like bare rock as walls. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it's incredibly cool down there.
Yeah, it stays cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. So, good. What did we do this week? We did talk about watching Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Okay.
Nope.
Did you have a chance to?
I watched it this morning.
Excellent.
Very, very short movie.
It
Weird
is
ending.
Not very short.
She
did
lies down and dies. Credits roll. I close the browser.
The
I don't
credits
know.
say the end and everything. Yeah.
I was like, man, this is really short.
Uh-huh.
60-minute film. Good for them. Very strange ending. She just dies. That's the end. The end. So unsatisfying.
I mean, I kind of applaud their bravery there, right? Like, what kind of movie sets up a protagonist like this, and then they're just like, we thought they were the one, they weren't. The end. Like, that's a real story. It's just not like storytellingly satisfying, is all. But,
Right.
like, since when does what the audience want matter?
Almost never.
Yep.
Sometimes. Yeah, other than that, like, obviously I didn't stop the movie there. I kept watching, and it's still a strange ending to the movie. That doesn't change. It just keeps going. It keeps being like wacky in some very strange ways. Like all the rectal stuff, the guys who get powered up by putting stuff up their butts.
Yeah.
Uh,
You are skipping ahead a bit.
I think it was actually before the first ending of the movie.
Oh, right. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe we should explain a little bit about the basic premise of this film before we start getting into the details.
Well,
But
yeah.
if we could just, you know what? Forget that. Let's just talk about random parts of the movie and assume that the people who are listening have seen it.
Well, I mean, yeah, we should go watch
Okay.
the movie. Because here's the thing, the entire movie is gonna be like, oh, it's all metaphors for like children not getting along with their parents, like first generation Chinese American immigrants not really being able to relate and connect with their parents. And I've seen that story before. I mean, it does it very well. That's loosely what it's about. But all of the like metaphysical nonsense was not interesting to me. Like
The multiverse concept. You're just out on that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Um
So, I mean, it's not a new concept, right? What
No-
they're running
no.
with is every time you make a different a decision, a
Mhm.
multiverse splits off where you made one decision and there's another one where you made the other decision. And it's
Yeah.
just branching trees all the way down from the first time you actually made a decision, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just always have a problem with like trying to show that in film because the amount of decisions you make are exponentially larger than the ones that you can show in a 2-hour film.
Correct.
If they wanted to, they could jump between universes that are just you took slightly longer a pause in that sentence than you intended, right?
Right.
And that would be a different universe entirely, even though fundamentally there's very little different. And they don't do that. They're keen on big choices, which is obviously in cinema is much more satisfying to present because you can draw on, oh, now you're a kung fu expert, or now, you're a gymnast or a doctor or a famous movie actor, and you can do all this cool shit.
Right.
But it's always just the same thing with those movies where they don't
commit, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they don't commit. They don't make a worse movie, and I like it less for doing. That's what that boils down to, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, the thing is, we have recently Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to compare it to, and they did even less with the concept, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like this movie is better by comparison in that, right? They tried harder than
they
Doctor Strange did.
They tried harder to make the metaphysical aspects of parallel world hopping and whatnot more interesting than Doctor Strange. I will grant you that.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the different multiverses they showed.
Well,
like
okay.
in Doctor Strange, we got like the world where everyone wears black all the time.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Those were
And,
broadly
that's it.
different universes, right? Like, we also had that montage where they initially fall through a bunch, and then there's like, now they're all paint, or now they're a comic book, right?
So yeah, there's that one like 10-second
clip
thing.
Yeah, there's a short montage.
Flashes through a ton of them, right? That's true.
So the principle there is that the universes are fundamentally different, but still play out more or less the same. In this, it's like you made a slight difference, a slight change in the same universe led to a totally different outcome. And they're just different methods of showing basically the same thing. And I don't think one is particularly better than the other. I think they both make for a more interesting film than what I would want.
Okay. But I mean, in Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's not small decisions. She decides, right, to go with her boyfriend to America or not go to America. That's a huge choice.
That is a huge choice in the moment. Because
you don't think that could lead to two significantly different life outcomes?
I think that could lead to several thousand different life outcomes. We only see two. In the second, like, we see one where she becomes blind. We see one where she becomes a kung fu artist because she happens to get mugged. And one where she becomes like a movie star. and then still
Well, it's
re-meets that guy. She never remarries in any of them. She never just finds a different guy. Like,
yeah, she does. I don't know if she's married
what?
with IRS lady, but she's living with her. That's a different partner.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
hot dog
that,
hands.
that's sausage hands. There's a lot. That's just them being goofy, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm just saying there
but
is an example.
there's an example,
Okay.
but like the idea that this one moment led to her becoming a kung fu master isn't really the full picture of it. It's like, oh, she had to follow a very specific path to
Yeah.
get there, and that's fine. But
Well, she got mugged, and then she got saved by a kung fu master, and then she chose to go train with the kung fu master, and she chose to continue with it for years and years and years and years. So it's a million different choices, yeah, but it all
yeah,
stems from the first one where she decides to go train with this person.
well, but you can always follow the route back of choices infinitely. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
why was she running down that alley? Because that's where her parents chose to live. They could have moved somewhere else. They didn't. They bought that house, right?
yeah,
Like,
right.
but there would also be 1,000 universes where the choices she made are all the same, but are radically different. Every choice in the branching universes are contextualized by that person's choice rather than the choices that are affected upon them. That make sense? It's like infinity to the power of infinity number of choices, because there are infinitely more choices being made to you than ones you're making about the world. That makes sense?
The world is more deterministic than free will.
I mean, I don't strictly believe in free will. Yeah.
No, yeah, but not right. It's a scale, right? Over
Yeah.
here we have all free will. Every choice is your choice, and over here we have deterministic, where you don't have any choice at all, and we're in the middle somewhere. Right?
Somewhere, yeah.
Somewhere in between there.
Leaning
right?
a little deterministic on the grander scale. On the personal view, it's pretty free willy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's perspective.
It is.
Yeah.
It gets tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So just in general, you don't like this concept of trying to explore what it means that every choice that you make, it creates a different multiverse.
I mean, like, if that's the concept, I understand it in its totality. The idea that you make a different choice, you create a parallel world that you made the other choice, right? Like, I understand that. Conceptually, I feel like I just ran through the entire gambit of what it has to offer.
So you're just kind of bored with it because it's not that deep and interesting.
Right. And it's not what the movie's about either. It's just the plot device. The plot device is about first generation American Chinese immigrant not being able to relate with her family and feeling the social pressures from her family and multi-generational households and stuff like that. And
and generational trauma. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And I also recently, I say recently, it was probably a couple months ago, Turning Red, the Disney movie about the panda.
Right, which I didn't see.
You didn't see. But it's basically the same
concept.
Same concept. It's first generation Chinese American. Except the magicness of that is she turns into a panda. And her family have all turned into pandas because they were like shrine guardians or something. And so I basically just feel like I've seen this movie.
Sure.
Recently. Yeah. It's not unenjoyable. It's the wackiness is just somehow slightly off. The fight scenes are all a little too goofy for me. It's like, my one tiny pinky makes you do backflips and go flying. And here's a man being controlled by a raccoon.
Right, which...
I mean, it's funny. I get that.
I laughed at that, and then they kept coming back to it, and every time I was like, yes! Raccoony!
I definitely
was invested.
I definitely did laugh at that. I really laughed when she was just like, when she first awakens her like god powers, and she just goes around being like, fuck you, stabs her husband, whips the dude's hat off while he's cooking, and he's like, we knew we couldn't trust her.
That was such a great moment because they introduced the Rakakuni character in somewhere else, and you're like, oh, okay, that's in a different part of the movie. And then all of a sudden she's there and she goes woof.
Right.
That's great. And I like that that's how she's trying to explain the concept of what's happening to her
Husband,
her daughter and her husband.
right? You
She's
know,
trying to explain ratatouille, but she keeps saying it's a raccoon. And her daughter's like, I'm pretty sure it's not a raccoon. And then the movie's like, oh yeah, what if it is a raccoon?
Oh,
I enjoyed it. But yeah, the movie is about generational trauma and the power of love. That's it. That's the movie at its core.
right.
Is we all fuck each other up in our families, and the older generation does it to the younger generation, and they got messed up by the older generation above them, and it just keeps going on. And we just have to love each other, gosh dang it, and trust each other and give each other a chance and let each other go and show just all this positive relationship stuff. I had someone in one of the comments on the YouTube video. Well, it was a YouTube movie that I rented on YouTube. Anyway, one of the comments was, watching this movie made me feel like I got 2 years of therapy." It's like, I get where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's ostensibly the sci-fi multiverse movie, but really what it's about is power of love. Love
Yep.
people. Yeah.
Yep.
And her power is not kung fu fighting. Her power is the ability to look at someone and decide what they really want.
What they
What will make
need.
them truly happy. Yeah. What they need. What will make them the happiest.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's
a
having a ball gag and
gag.
getting spanked.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff
And-
that just comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, we're in the IRS building for like most of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, at least most of the action movie. And it's like, oh, we're in like the director's office or like a conference room or something. And then it's like, oh, we push a button and there's a dedicated sex den in this guy's office.
Right, like a panic room. I think it's multiverse, right? In one universe, it's a panic room. In another universe, it's a sex den.
I think it's just the sex den and they use it as a panic room. It's
But don't they go into it?
They do,
in
but she
our Prime universe, and there's like guns in there and stuff.
No. She's trying to like do her power up thing, and she finds like a feather duster or something, and she's like trying to like guess herself sneeze with it or stick it up her nose. It's all the sex stuff. It's still in there.
Okay, so it is just a sex dungeon the whole way down. Got it.
Yeah. Yep.
Fair enough.
Sex
I guess
dungeons all
one
the way
thing.
down.
Yeah. So one thing to make clear, there's a mechanic in the movie where if you want to grab the skills from one of your multiverse counterparts, you have to do something that brings you in alignment with that other person.
Right, and that's usually doing something out of character of what you would do, but probably in line of what they would do. Is I think is how it's treated. But they call them jumping off points, and a lot of them don't make sense because just conceptually, if you were willing to go through the actions of a jumping off point, it becomes something you would do. So it would then be in line with your character anyway, and would not be out of place for you to do it.
So you think once you do something, you're likely to do it?
No, I think
don't
once
that's how that works.
I think once you commit to something, you've proven to the universe you are likely to do it, right? Because you did it, right? And like the main, like, I don't mind it, but the fact that it's overused as like a power up device a lot is just a little strange. When all of the agents are fighting in that one room, and there's like, they're all like, oh crap, we need to go find a new jumping off point. And then there's like one dude fucking a lamp, another dude licking a wall. I'm like, that's not out of place for a lot of people. That could, like, it feels like they've done that before. They all jumped on that very quickly.
Oh,
like,
interesting. So you think the wall licking dude is just constantly licking walls?
He might be. Like, if licking walls gave you powers, why wouldn't you? Like,
it doesn't, though. The point is the action is directly related to the thing that you need. For the first part of the movie, it is, and then it turns into do something weird and get powers. We're just throwing darts at a dartboard blindly at that point, right? It goes from a very much we need this skill set, do this thing to get this power.
Well,
to I'm just doing something weird and pressing the button, and I'll get something. I don't know what it is, but I hope it's useful. Right?
Well, I mean, sort of. They list a bunch of different things to get a specific power up. Like when she first gets her like kung fu abilities, she needs to tell the IRS lady, "I love you," right? Because that's out of her character to tell another woman that she loves her and means it.
I don't think the point is that it's out of character. You're just doing something your alternate person does.
Which is
And
out of your character because it's not you.
not necessarily. Like, that's how it happens in the film, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of the things was, I don't know, like, do a jumping jack. Like,
They offer
that's
that.
the thing.
Her husband offers that as like do weird shit. It's like, do a jumping jack, blow up his
Right.
nose, right? But they offer
right.
they offer a list of other like alternatives, like break your own arm, which seems counterintuitive to getting ninja powers.
Right. That does seem a little counterproductive and long-term bad. Yeah. Anyway,
Forget where we're
yeah,
going with
they did
this.
a pretty good job with it. Just, I don't know, just talking about the power set and how it works and stuff. So, one thing that I was like, hold on a second. So, the two dudes jump on the obvious butt plug IRS Employee of the Month award,
Right,
and
which
they have them in their asses while they're fighting. And I'm like, okay,
Yes.
look, you don't have to do that. That's not how this has ever worked. You don't have to keep doing the thing to keep your powers. You do it once, it goes ding, and you can do it. But for comedic effect, you got to have the butt plugs up your ass while you're kung fu fighting because it's funnier.
right.
And then she knocks the butt plugs out of him, and they're like, "Oh, we're depowered." And I'm like, "That's not how any of this works. You're changing the rules mid-movie for humor.
Yeah.
How can I take you seriously at all?" I don't think you're supposed to.
I mean, I like it so that it's the changing of the power sets that you can't take seriously, not the fact they've got butt plugs hanging out of their rectums as they fight and like do wire fu moves. That's what you can take seriously.
You're saying the non-plausible thing here is that they stayed in.
No. It's perfectly plausible. They just got to clench, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's you.
Sorry, so what are you saying?
I'm saying that I think it's funny. You can't take it seriously that they changed the rules, not the fact that it's dudes fighting with butt plugs, like flopping around. That's what you can take that seriously, but you can't take it seriously because they changed the rules. It's like it's all comedic value.
Yeah,
It's comedic value all the way down.
But it's the concept of establishing a rule set for your fantasy sci-fi setting and sticking to it.
Which it hasn't at any point really taken all that seriously. Like, it's not a serious property. They're not trying to be like setting a philosophical thesis about it. It's, hey, this dude's being controlled by a raccoon. These people have butt plugs. You know, it's lighthearted all the way through, and intentionally so.
Yeah. And then it's like, family's important, but man, is it hard sometimes.
Yeah, we put literally everything on a bagel.
Oh man, that was pretty good too.
That was a funny reveal.
Everything bagel. Yeah, it was.
That was pretty funny.
Like, she's building a machine, a weapon of some kind.
We thought it was a
And, like,
black hole.
Yeah, for an hour of the film, you're like, ooh, what is it? It sounds real dangerous.
Yeah.
And then she's like, it's a bagel. I put everything on it. That's so good. Yeah, there's some good writing in this. Also, the Russo brothers produced it.
Oh, did they?
The dude who did Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
That we've always been like, how did they keep all those spinning plates up? They did such a good job. This is one of the things they did.
Yeah.
Which
It's
I can
good.
see it because there is a lot going on in this film, and it's pretty adept at keeping all those plates in the air.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that there's a lot going on. It's weird because it doesn't feel like there isn't a lot, but if you like list them out, it's like, oh, there's the divorce, the tax, the relationship with the daughter, and then the god
party.
powers. Well, the party is like shows up
It's
very
part of
briefly. Very briefly.
Sure.
I
But it's
feel.
a source of stress. I mean, it's a source of
Right.
stress. That's just a quick aside. The first 10 minutes of that film, I was like clenching my teeth. It is the most stressful thing because she has a million things going on and she can't give any of her attention to any of it. And it's just like, man, how does anybody live that way? There's way too
Oh,
much
I have no
happening
idea.
right now.
Nobody should have to live like that.
Nobody should have to live that way at all.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah. So plate spinning. Did a good job with it.
Yep.
Their budget, guess what it was?
$60 million.
$25 million.
Oh.
How?
Don't know.
And they did their own special effects. Like, they didn't hire a special effects company to do it for them. They just did it in-house.
Oh.
I don't know how they did any of this stuff. It must have taken them like 10 years. I'm going to look this up real quick.
I think they started in 2020. That's what I read.
Okay. So no, not 10 years at all then.
No. So it doesn't feel like a movie that's been in production for 10 years.
No.
Because I think any movie that's been in production that long probably has some more issues than is good. Like, you know.
Unlikely that it comes out of that process solid.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That would be my opinion. Fair enough.
Why don't I have like talk about how they come up with the idea and when they started writing it, but there aren't any dates, so that's cool.
No.
Yeah. Filming began 2020. So whatever. Sure. Filming began 2020. Yep.
Right. Yep.
About 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, which I did say was weird, because she basically commits to a single timeline, essentially, and is simply going to try and ignore the other infinite amount that she can now see everywhere all the time, all at once, you know?
Yeah.
And then it
kind of
comes back into it. Like, at the end, they're still talking to the tax lady, and she starts to drift off again.
Yeah.
Which really just feels like we're not going to, like, this hasn't actually resolved anything. Like, she's still unable to give her full attention to anything. I guess the difference is she asks this time, because there's a couple of conversations with the IRS lady, where she's like, drifts out, and they're like, oh, are you listening? And she's like, yeah, I'm listening, carry on. But this time she asks, like, oh, what did you say? Could you repeat that, please? And so I guess that's the difference. But to me, it feels like, oh, the movie's over, but nothing's really resolved in any meaningful way.
Yeah. I mean, the movie's about her relationship with her daughter.
Yeah.
And that's pretty resolved, right?
Right. But the metaphysical
as far as the sci-fi side of it.
The sci-fi side is a metaphor for all the personal problems that they have with the daughter. The fact that the metaphysical stuff is still going on means that largely the personal problems are still going to continue as well. That's what I take away from that.
Yeah, no, for sure. This movie was not like, and then all their problems were solved forever. Isn't that wonderful? I don't think they even tried to say that.
I feel like they did. They threw a party, everyone hugged and cried.
Yeah, you know, it's like we understand each other a little bit better now. We got a lot of stuff out between mother and daughter, especially, and husband and wife, and father and daughter, and grandfather, and
did they? Everybody
said a lot of things.
Did they get divorced at the end?
No,
it's like she signed the paperwork.
Yeah, but unless you file it, it doesn't mean anything. You can sign divorce paperwork and keep it in a cabinet.
I'm not even married. I can sign that stuff. Sweet.
Yeah, for sure. But did you pick up on where the divorce papers came from?
No. What happened?
So he has been feeling like he can't talk to her about anything, right?
Right.
And he's feeling disconnected from her. And he talked to some friends of his, and what they had done is one of them had drawn up divorce papers, and it had forced the other partner to stop and slow down and pay attention to what's happening and actually try to fix some things. It was never intended to be like, we're done, it's over, I want out. It was just a tactic to try to get Evelyn to stop for 10 minutes and just talk to him. That's what he was trying to do.
Okay.
And then she does sign it.
Yeah.
He's like, all-time backfire.
Okay. So, because her life can't be that busy 24/7, 52 weeks a year, right?
If she would have a heart attack. Like, she'd have a stress-induced heart attack if that was true.
Right. So it's like, okay, you have a particularly busy period. Yes. Because you're being audited and you're trying to claim karaoke machines for your laundromat.
Oh, man.
I mean, here's the thing. If you just make the business, like, you could totally do that if you just said, yeah, we also, like, we're a variety business. We have some laundromats, we've got a couple karaoke rooms, and we're a hotel because we got beds where people can sleep. Then you could do that. You just need to organize it first, right? Like, you need to be a little bit prepared and have a really weird business model.
Also, do you not have computers? Where is this? Why is everything paper? Everything's paper. Like, I get you have receipts, fine. You have paper receipts, I get it. But how is none of this input into some budget software or tax software somewhere? How
The
are you bringing a briefcase full of receipts to the IRS?
it's one of the ways that they're illustrating that these are not English native speakers. There's a couple of scenes where she's like, "Oh, my English is good enough," but she totally doesn't understand what some of the words are saying. She's being told, and so I imagine it would just be a language and technology barrier with an older generation coming from a foreign country. So they just keep everything physical on paper.
Right. But I mean, but they have tax software in China. It's not the English speaking that's the problem here.
Mm,
I'm just saying.
I mean,
Someone should have been like, look, guys, it's 2022 or whatever it is. Like, digitize some of this. Maybe not all. You can't do all of it, but some of it, please.
is it set in 2022? They didn't see anyone wearing a mask.
What are the phones? What phones do they have? They're smartphones. They've got smartphones.
They've got
So it's
smartphones.
at least like 2010, probably.
Yeah. Oh, they've got thin smartphones. I would put it like 2015
Okay,
at least.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, like bigger, like size wise.
Yeah. They've got like big chunky things, you know. They're not
Agreed.
like little iPhone S's or whatever.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, the way it was a decision. They're like, we need them to have problems with the IRS. And to make it more hectic, there's just a kitchen table full of receipts. That is hectic. If you look at that, you're like, ugh, no one's happy about that.
Yeah,
So
nobody.
it's just trying to establish a tone.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it was just fun. It was engaging. It was interesting. There was the family stuff was good. Like just the fact that they slowly brought it around to the story being the teenage daughter feels lost and doesn't feel like her family accepts her and her sexuality. And a part of her is like, if I just kill myself, it'll at least end all this garbage, right?
Yeah.
That's what the bagel is. The everything bagel is just nothingness. It's an escape through death. Yeah. And so just trying to get through all of those layers of resentment and anger and fear and self-doubt and getting all the way to the heart of it. And then for Evelyn just to be like, all right, like if you want to go, if you feel like that's what you have to do, you know, then go ahead. But I'm always here. And then she chases her, which is a little counterproductive.
Right, but then
I'm not sure what the messaging was in that part.
They have a big hug, and it's all great.
They do. The rock scenes. Oh my gosh, I loved the rock scenes so much.
The rocks.
When they're rocks.
So the rocks are probably my favorite scene in pairing with that final scene when she's like talking to her, as she's about to leave. Basically, she's like, whenever we're together, it just sucks, right? Like, and I think the rock scene actually does does that scene justice so well, because it's like, I took you to a universe or a planet or whatever where literally no life can exist. We are just rocks. There's nothing to do, and you still fucked it up because you shouldn't be able to move, and you started fucking moving. You ruined just being a rock for me. Like, you spun around, you had googly eyes, which was cute and funny and all that shit, but I tried, and you still managed to make it suck. Like,
I love the googly eyes so much. She turns and she's like, Google.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Good
Truly.
stuff.
Yeah, just good. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yep.
I do like too how every version of her daughter in the multiverse is just wearing incredibly colorful, busy clothing. Like, there's no version of her daughter in the other multiverse that's just like, I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans right now. Like, not one of them. She changes a lot. It's like, interesting. Yeah. So maybe that just shows how repressed she is in Evelyn's Prime verse. Like, she doesn't dress like that in that universe, but maybe she wants to, and maybe she's like supposed to, but she just keeps it down, right?
I mean, maybe. I think it's more of a like it's omnipotent god fleek style, you know. Where,
So once she reached that pinnacle of
right,
awareness, you're just like, dressing like this now.
right. I think it's like a I don't know. It's her being connected to like an infinite version of herself. She just cycles through it like constantly, and that's why it's ever
Right.
changing. Like when she's first introduced, and it's like, oh, who is this? And it's annoying that they never like do anything with the name of the like Jabu or something.
Right.
I was like,
Just that
oh,
Evelyn only gets it right like once.
right. I thought there was gonna be some reveal for why she's called that or something. It's like no, they just made
Yeah.
up a series of sounds that are hard to remember. But when
Yeah.
they first introduce her, her fingernails are constantly shifting in color, and so I think it's just her being like,
Mm.
I'm not one thing. That's the point. I'm everything, and
Mhm.
so it's just constantly on rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But I'm just saying, on the rotation, once in a while, there should just be like a random
I mean,
dress
again,
boring in one color.
it's the problem with the infinite parallel dimensions. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there should be infinite numbers of where she's just in a t-shirt and hoodie, right?
Right.
So we should
Well-
theoretically see it infinite number of times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, fun stuff.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And again, just coming right on the heels of Thor, or not Thor, of
Mhm.
Doctor Strange in the multiverse, was just like,
Mhm.
these guys are doing a little bit more with this concept than Marvel is capable of attempting, even.
Yeah, or at least
Yeah.
you know, they just didn't want to. Like,
Right. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Didn't make the effort.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is a scene in Everywhere that does kind of the flashing through a million different multiverses like there is in Doctor
Mhm.
Strange.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
they do
That's-
that, but it's mostly just the versions we've already seen. There wasn't like any big standout ones that I saw when they were
There
flashing
were
through.
so many, though. I couldn't
Mm.
even tell what most of them were.
They all just look like very, very similar stuff. Like nothing crazy is like, oh, now they're paint, right? Like, because it's always her face in focus, and it's like it doesn't
Yeah,
change.
no, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's never like, and now she doesn't have a nose.
Right.
It's like, right. It's a good
Al-
point.
Although, can I just say, if we had sausages for hands or fingers, people would not suddenly become really good at doing everything that we would normally do with our hands with our feet. That is like we if we evolved to have sausages fingers, our technology would revolve around sausage fingers. Okay, we wouldn't still be very hand centric, you know. But we just do it with our feet. That's not how I think that would work.
The reveal was funny though, when
Yeah.
they're like, so we've seen the sausage fingers universe a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
and then she just starts playing the piano with her feet. Like, okay, I get it. I get where we're going with this.
This
You're
does-
right, but it's for the funnies.
Yeah. It looks like this does change a bunch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I am noticing.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
must
just talking
have-
about there's a YouTube video where it takes that scene and slows it down a lot.
Right. Well,
Some
and
of it's like animated.
you can set YouTube's playback rate to 0.25 as well. And really slow it down.
So that's easy.
Yeah.
Dude, one of them, she's a dude in prison with like a beard. That's
Yeah.
cool.
There's a bunch here where she's just like straight up a different actor. There's one where she's a nun, but she's just a skeleton.
She's a dog in that one. She's a
There's-
little Pomeranian.
An alien, yeah.
Grape.
So some of these are looping though. Like I've seen some of
Yeah.
these again. That's probably why I thought, oh, they're very similar. It's like the keyframes that I picked out in the moment were just repeated images.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
a couple here. The alien one, the nun one,
Yeah,
the statue one, the pyramid head one.
right. That must have sucked for filming. It's like, all right, we need to set up a shot just so we can take a photo, and it's like totally different
Right.
character, wardrobe, locations. Like, there's one where she's like a a mother and she's standing in front of a fire, like her house is burnt down and there's firefighters putting it out.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that seems like a lot of effort. Even if you just CGI it, that's not cheap.
Right.
Yeah, and it keeps going back to the one where she's the actress in the theater.
Right. And the pizza sign spinner, which I've
Yeah.
never seen one of those in real life. Do they have those really in America?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Take your word for it. At this video, like at a minute 10, they've also spliced in a picture of a thumbnail of a YouTube video.
Yeah.
With I don't know if that's the movie did that or if the YouTube video's done that, because it's the thumbnail of a YouTube video called Illuminati Symbols Hidden in Hollywood Films for One Frame from 14 years ago, 12 years. And I am probably now going to go and rewatch that scene in the movie and try and slow it down and see if it's in the movie.
There are some comments here on this video where it slowed down, and they seem to believe that's actually in the movie, and that this particular YouTuber didn't add that in there.
Okay.
But either, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was this YouTuber who did that.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Also, if it's from 14 years ago, that would give us a time and date. Not really, because I mean, I'm just assuming that 14 years ago is roughly when YouTube started, which would mean that basically sets it today-ish time. Isn't it? But it could also be 10 years in the future and only uploaded 14 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. So YouTube came out in 2005.
Was it?
Because it got bought by Google pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, that would at least make it 2019, which is roughly a year before they started filming, which explains the no masks.
Right. Yeah, 2005 February. It gets created by just these dudes: Steve Chen, Chad Hurley, Jawad Karim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they used to work for PayPal, and they left to create YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure Google bought it, 2006. So the independent era of YouTube was really short. There are people who are like, man, YouTube was a lot better before Google got it. It's like, well, there's like maybe 9 months where Google didn't own it. So, all right, man.
Have you? So I've listened to this podcast where they were talking about the starting, like the creation of YouTube in those first like 9 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is they were all basically sitting around being like, this isn't working. Nobody's using it. How can we try and get people to use it? And they were posting ads being like, are you a hot chick with a video camera? Post a video to YouTube and we'll give you $50. Right? Like they were paying people.
Not a bad way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they credited a couple of like really big events happening on major TV. Like it was the Justin Timberlake Super Bowl.
Slip.
Janet
Jackson.
Janet Jackson, thank you. That's what I could think of. For some reason I was thinking Michelle. I'm like, Michelle doesn't make sense. Yeah, anyway, people really wanted to watch that again, but it literally couldn't be shown on TV. So someone put it on YouTube and everyone went to YouTube, which is amusing because it's copyrighted material.
Right. They got their start by rebroadcasting copyrighted stuff, and now you can't do that anymore.
Yes, which is amusing. Yeah.
That is funny. It's kind of like how Disney started their empire on the concept of public domain, and now they don't want that to apply to them.
Yes.
Also amusing.
Although
less amusing.
Winnie the Pooh just became public domain, which I'm pretty sure Disney had a Winnie the Pooh show at some point.
Bunch of things that was Disney, and it's gone now.
Yeah.
So instantaneously, what someone wants to do is make a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. So.
Which they have done. I believe it's coming out.
Is it out?
Well, I don't think it's
coming out.
It's coming out. Yeah. It's not like, hey, we had an idea. Here's some concept art. It's, hey, we're filming this thing. So.
I mean, I know they had a poster, but that's pretty easy to do.
Yeah. Well, I've seen footage of it. So.
Okay.
Like they cut a trailer, I believe. So.
Yeah.
I guess you could just shoot a trailer. That doesn't sound particularly difficult either.
It's definitely more work though.
Oh yeah, it's definitely more work than a poster, but it's definitely less work than a whole movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Uh, mm,
Anywho,
mm,
anywho. All right, enough about that. I think.
Yep.
Yes. Let's see what else. What else did we? Stray came out today.
Stray did come out today. I played a little bit this morning. Um, are you planning on playing Stray?
How much is it?
Like $25.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
It's also apparently a very short game. Apparently, it can be beaten in under 2 hours, given that there's an achievement for doing so. But I saw regular playthroughs something like 7 hours on the long end. Yeah. I mean, I'm
fine.
yeah.
Sure.
It's not. I don't think a longer game is necessarily a better game by any stretch.
Is it hallway or is it open worldy?
It's a lot of hallways at first, and then I hit a town sort of setting, and it's like, oh, here's like a small city to play around in. And by play around in, I mean knock everything off the shelf because you're a goddamn cat. And that's what I did. I spent like 2 hours climbing around, meowing at people, and knocking things off shelves, and scratching up people's walls, which is a thing you can do.
Apparently, there's an achievement if you meow 100 times.
Yes. So they recommend you play with a gamepad, and I believe pushing A just makes your cat meow.
Yeah. Makes sense.
B makes your cat jump, so you can't jump freely. You have to like look at a ledge, and it'll be like press B to jump, and then you'll jump to the ledge, so you can't miss. But it's like most of what you're doing is jumping from place to place. There's a lot of that. You can sprint, and I've had one instance where I had to sprint away from some bad guys. But there's a lot of, I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't know, talking to people and walking around.
Talking to people? You can talk to people as a cat?
Sort of. There are no humans left. Like, I don't want to spoil it. I think it would be better to go into this game blind. But humans have seemed to have disappeared.
So it's kind of cyberpunky, except that requires humans.
Yeah, it's more post-apocalyptic.
Like cyberpunk happened, and we're beyond that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm having fun.
I'll pick it up this week then. That sounds good.
Cool. Halo is finally getting. Halo Infinite is getting multiplayer, or co-op, I should say, for the campaign. The beta is currently going on, so you should go ahead and pick that up so we can play that.
The beta?
Well, you don't have to just play the beta. I'm just saying you might want to get it ready, because if I remember correctly, a lot of the stuff was like, hey, it's beta, and then like a month later, it was like, all right, we're good.
Get ready for a month later? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I told you to pick it up like a week ago when it was 50% off, and you didn't do it. So
that is true.
Yeah.
I don't know. When it's out, I'll get it. I don't trust them. Could be another year. Maybe there will be a 75% off by the time they get co-op. Maybe
there'll be a co-op sale. So I'm listening to a podcast called the Fuckface Podcast. Except they bleep the word, which is physically impossible for me to recreate with my mouth. So if you want to,
they never say fuckface.
They say
always censored.
Yeah, if you say fuckface, it's censored. But if you say the word face or the word fuck, it's not. It just happens if you put if you put them next to each other in a certain order.
The name of the podcast is censored. It's not the fuck is being censored. It's the name of the podcast is being censored.
Yes.
That's funny.
It is funny. It's a very funny podcast. But I because I'm binge listening to it, I just hit like episode 70 where they're talking about the release of Halo Infinite, and one of the three hosts, Jeff, is like, I've played through all the Halo games with my daughter. We're gonna play couch co-op together. It's gonna be great. And I know it's not coming out for like 6 months, but we're gonna be really excited. So I'm gonna not try to not play Halo Infinite's campaign for 6 months until it comes out. I listened to this yesterday, and I'm like, dude, it's been a year and a half. You're still waiting.
Oh no!
So I just
Think
feel
he's
bad for
played?
this
You
guy.
think he's broken down?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope he gets to play it with his kid.
Well, he'll catch up eventually.
Yeah.
No, wait, you said his plan was just not play single player because he wanted to experience it with his kid.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I was asking. Do you think he's played through the single player because it's just been so long?
No. I hope not. Is what I'm saying.
Okay,
I hope he gets
but
to
you'll
play
find
with his
out
kid.
soon because you're speed running this thing. So
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's not a gaming podcast, so they might never come back to it, depending on how quickly they forget about the this and they go to other things. Okay, so the reason why the
Fair.
podcast is called Fuckface is because doing the dumbest thing possible for the biggest laughs is like the concept of it.
Okay.
Which
really
is
broad.
really broad, but it's these people have a unique skill in which to do this. Like they made a podcast called Fuckface, which you literally can't say or search because they put asterisks in the name. So even on their own website, you can't search for it because for some reason asterisk just doesn't return any results. You can't hashtag it because hashtags don't include asterisks. You know.
That is the trolliest name of a podcast. Wow.
Right.
So what do you do? How do you find it?
You know where it is.
You just have to like dig through the pages on the site.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it helps that it's run by Rooster Teeth and they're super huge, so it's not terribly hard to find it under like related podcasts. Which I learned recently that they are mostly just a podcasting network now. Apparently, last year they had over
Rooster
100.
Teeth?
Yeah, they gone from video production to just podcasts. They have over 100 in their like channel network, and apparently
100 different pods.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And apparently last year it quintupled their quadtupled their annual revenue because they just have
Podcasting's way bigger than I thought it was. Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
Yeah.
So we're obviously getting like hundreds of millions of dollars from this podcast, right?
Oh yes, clearly we're in talks with Bezos to be bought for $20 bajillion.
Nice.
Yeah.
I figured something like that was happening, and you
I
just let
need
me
to
know
know.
when it's all. But you just need like when I need to sign something, you'll just let me know. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah. I'll make sure I get that paperwork over to you for your 49% of the show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can you just put into the Discord? You can search "fuck space podcast" and it comes through.
Yeah, well, when I said it's impossible to search, I meant like search for content because it breaks hashtags. And they were talking about how you can't search for it on their own website. I was listening to episodes from over a year ago, which means I assume they fixed that problem when it became their number 2 podcast. Because you kind of want that stuff to be memorable. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which also I want to talk about. There's a thing that they did on the show that I've been asking everyone, which is, do you think in 12 hours you could eat 50 McDonald's hamburgers?
So hamburger, not Big Mac, not double quarter pounder.
Well,
hamburger.
it might be cheeseburger. They might be cheeseburger. The basic.
So single patty cheeseburger.
Yes.
Because they have a million different kinds of hamburgers. Okay.
Yeah.
In 12 hours?
Yeah. 50 of them.
50?
Yeah.
Like now, or can I prepare for this?
You can prepare.
Okay.
Because one of the hosts does this 3 times. Well, he tries to do it 3 times and fails every time. Like, he can't do it. And
so it's like the gallon challenge. You know what that one is?
Yeah, where you try to drink a gallon of milk in under an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Same thing, except you have 12 hours to eat 50 cheeseburgers.
Gotcha. Well, if this dude has tried and can't do it, how close does he get?
Well, that's the conjectures thing, because he, after the first one, he always tries to like change it slightly, and he's like, "Oh, what if I order 25 double cheeseburgers? Is that acceptable?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Because the first time, I think he gets to like 37, right?
Okay,
but he then takes off
adding meat, but cutting down bread.
Right, but he will also like take all the pickles out and our sauces and stuff like that, so he doesn't fill up. So they're not exactly what they would call a regulation cheeseburger.
Right.
And then he doesn't eat them just like one burger at a time. when he was doing it the second time, I think he took out all the meat and started eating that first, like on its own. He wasn't eating them as cheeseburgers. So he just had a bunch of
Yeah.
bread left over to eat. So quantifying how much he managed to get through is a little tricky.
Yeah, that's stupid. Why is he doing all this stuff? Just eat them.
He says it's a mental game.
Yeah, okay.
Right? It's part of his strategies. Anyway, he has to eat a pencil because he failed.
Gross.
Not all at once, like in one bite. He's got to he's gonna shave it up and eat.
Can you grind it up and mix it into like a chocolate milkshake?
Yeah, he can. Yep.
Okay, that's not bad then, I guess.
Yeah. So.
So the answer is probably not. I'm gonna go with no.
You don't think you could? Because I feel like
No.
I feel like this would be very easy, and I'm wondering if
Whoa.
American cheeseburgers are just way bigger than Australian. Because Australian ones are tiny. Like,
The regular cheeseburger's not huge for McDonald's here.
but 50 over 12 hours. You don't think you could do that?
Okay. No, I really don't.
If I paid for this, would you try?
I don't think I would. I think it sounds miserable.
It does sound miserable. I'm not gonna argue that. Cheeseburger is not a good burger.
So break it down. How many is that per hour? I can't do math.
There'd be 50 divided by 12. If only I had a calculator anywhere nearby. Because I also can't do math. That is 4 an hour, or 1 every 15 minutes.
1 every 15 minutes. So you know how competitive eaters sometimes dunk their food in water?
Uh-huh.
Is that is that just a speed thing, or is that it helps your body digest things faster thing? What do you think?
I think water dilutes stomach acid, so I don't think it digests faster.
So it's got to be speed eating then.
Yeah, because what I understand about speed eaters is that it's all about making room in your stomach. Like there was a video of a guy abroad in Japan in like a YouTube channel, and he went to do like a fried chicken challenge or something. And the day he happened to go to this one restaurant for it, there was a speed eater there, tiny little girl who ate like a 25-pound bowl of fried chicken and rice. Right, like it was huge.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, it's all about making space." So every now and then she'd get up and just jump to try and like wiggle the food around in her.
Yeah, kind of settle it and take up less space.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
I think adding water is just to make it easier to eat, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, less chewing involved if it's bread, you know.
So I don't know. What I'm thinking is like you eat one and you just run, right? You just like run around the block. And
So,
you eat another one and then you run again. And this gets extra miserable eventually. But maybe it saves
I don't
some misery on the eating side later. You know what I mean?
I don't think you're supposed to do a lot of exercise after you eat, and I don't think you can run for 12 hours. You know?
Well, it's just a jog. Maybe not like a sprint, but just like moving, burning some calories, encouraging your body to digest because like you're moving, caveman brain. Like digest faster, turn this into energy. I need it because I'm running. You know what I mean? Kind of trick your lizard brain a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up here. So no, this sounds terrible.
So, okay, so you don't want to do that?
No.
Oh, okay. That's disappointing.
Like Google is like, can you eat 50 cheeseburgers in a day? Like that's the question. The question is not 12 hours. Like Google auto-completed 1 day for me, not 12 hours. That sounds insane.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
What the?
What was that?
Google thought I was talking to her. She thought I asked her what autocomplete meant. Shut up,
No.
Google. I did not want that.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, look, so far we have no examples of anyone being able to do this. So I don't feel all that comfortable with the idea, to be honest.
You don't want to try?
No.
I'll
It's like, you want to try climbing Mount Everest? Give it a shot.
Eating 50 cheeseburgers in a day is not the same
It's
as
not,
climbing
but it's
Mount
as
Everest.
unachievable as climbing Mount Everest.
Lots of people have climbed Mount Everest.
A lot of people have died. Good point, though.
Yeah, but
A lot of people have.
the local drive-through isn't littered with dead bodies as mile markers. Like,
Well, yeah, it might well be. More people have probably died from eating McDonald's than climbing Everest.
oh, almost certainly, I imagine.
Yeah, by a
Yeah.
lot. Heart
Yeah.
disease is a killer, man.
Mhm.
Clogging up them arteries with the fat.
It's true. It's true. But it's this one guy on the podcast who makes that challenge like 3 times. He tries to do it. He's also he keeps like rolling his ankles and hurting them, and I have no idea what he does for a living. But he's also says that he can walk 3 marathons in a week.
Okay.
Which that seems I don't know if it's run or walk. I think it's like run, but that seems like really hard. That seems way harder than the hamburgers or the cheeseburgers. Keep calling them hamburgers.
I don't know. Rolling
Yeah.
your ankle, that to me is a basketball injury. Like that usually happens with basketball. This
Uh,
is usually when you're jumping and you come down on the side of your foot and it goes
he says he like slips on a sushi container lid or something.
or that. That does it too, I guess.
The way he describes his life is mental to me. He has everything in his bedroom. Like he has like a little mini fridge, his desk, and he wakes up in the morning, cooks waffles in his bathroom, like ensuite. He keeps a waffle fryer in there. It's aggravating listening to him. You should definitely give it a go.
It's like Michael Scott with his little George Foreman grill in his bed.
You know,
Cook bacon in the morning.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
in the office. So I'm just looking for people who've talked about eating a lot of hamburgers at once. This person ate 9 in half an hour and
Okay.
felt like hell and like he was going to pass out. But he won.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody's even close to what we're talking about here. Not even close. Like if this felt like a more achievable goal, I'd be more amenable to it. But this is just
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
there is no chance of getting the thrill of victory, but the guarantee is a lot of pain and terribleness. So it's like,
I think I can do it. I think I can do it.
really?
Yeah, it doesn't sound that difficult.
Wow.
It really doesn't.
Okay. I'm really surprised you look at this and go,
And look, I don't say I want to. Like,
no. But you look at it and go,
I can do that.
really not challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't suck. Like, that's a lot of eating the same food repetitively. I don't want to do it. All right, I don't think it would be
Right.
fun. I just think it's very doable.
Right.
Ugh.
There are a lot of things in life that are that way, where it doesn't sound fun, but it sounds doable. Aki did some research and she found that the calorie content for both
Well,
US and Australian hamburgers and cheeseburgers are identical.
Yeah, but I mean, could be different quantities of the same stuff, right?
What? No.
Like if we had larger bread but less meat, but all the calories ended up the same.
Some magic way.
Either that or they're just lying and it's the average for a patty, but not really. Who knows?
I don't know. It's McDonald's. They standardize a lot of stuff because it's cheaper for them. They're a huge international company.
I mean,
But
they
I don't know.
don't
They do
standard
change the
everywhere.
menus country to country. Right.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
different McDonald's have different menu options for sure.
Yeah. Like I think it's Norway, it's somewhere very north, that their burgers don't have tomatoes on them because you can't grow tomatoes there, and it would be obscenely expensive just to ship tomatoes for burgers there. So yeah,
That's good to know.
yep. If you ever go to Norway and you want a burger with a slice of tomato on it, don't ask for it.
Can't do it. Bring your own tomatoes.
Yep.
Sell them on the black market for hundreds of dollars, apparently.
On the red market.
Ooh, gotta talk GSL for a minute before we
Okay.
go.
Yeah, GSL.
Dude, so okay. So Maro's TVZ looks nigh unstoppable somehow. Like round of 6 stuff, right? It was TVTs and ZVZs, and then there was Maro versus DRG, where Maro's just like, I'm just gonna make you look really bad. Sorry. And it's just these all-in timings 3 times in a row. And Dongryu's like, huh, I wasn't ready for this. Oh, well, I guess I'm dead.
It happened again. I wasn't ready for that. Guess I'm dead.
Huh. Maru took a third base and then showed up with a massive army 30 seconds later. Huh. That's hard to deal with. So that's what happened. But then Maru gets beat by Bunny.
Yeah.
3-1.
Happened the other way
Maru
around,
takes
but
the
yeah.
first. Maru takes the first game, I think.
Yes.
What's this? I can't remember the
I did
order.
watch this as well. I believe he took the first game. Actually, you can
Yeah.
click on this and look. Yeah, Maru took the
and
first game.
everyone's like,
hardball.
all right, cool. Maru looks good. He'll be fine.
Yeah, it looked honestly really shockingly different how better Maru was than Bunny in that first game. It was like, oh, he's out terraning him. This is going to be a stomp. And
it's not even that surprising. You're like, okay, yeah, Maru he was favored to win this.
Right.
And then the next 3 games, he does these weird openings.
Yeah.
Where he's way behind in every possible way, and his army compositions are bad. And Tastosis is like, what is he doing? Why is he openly experimenting with TVT right now?
Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm going to make a bunch of ghosts in TVT.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, great. You got off a couple of EMPs on the medevacs. That's really sick. And yeah, you launched a nuke. You got them to unsiege. But they just have a better army. Like, they have more tanks than you.
Bunny has air control. And that's everything in this matchup. There was, like, towards the end of one of the games, Bunny flies into Maru's main. And he doesn't have much of a ground army. And then, like, 3 tanks pop. And he's like, oh, I got Vikings. Bam! Lands the Vikings. And he's like, bonus for mechanical. Let's go.
Right.
And Tastos is like, this is the Viking truly is the greatest unit in all of StarCraft. Is there anything it can't do?
Fight Ultras.
Yeah. Kill Ultras. That's true.
Yeah.
Still, of all the things to show in that cinematic for Heart of the Swarm, that's one of the funniest choices they ever made.
I mean, it just needed to look cool. I mean, what else? Well, like, what unit would you give them to look cool?
Against an Ultra?
Yeah.
What about a ghost, like setting up a kill shot from a nearby building?
Yeah.
That could have been kind of cool.
I mean, I think if you did that cinematically, it would really show how ridiculous the snipe is on an Ultra.
Yes. Because the Ultra is like a 4-story tall building, and the ghost is like,
pew, and then it explodes into chunks, right? Like, which is just ridiculous, because the ghost will then turn and shoot at a ling, and it'll just be like, flop.
Pink.
Right? Like, it doesn't explode in the same fashion. So,
right. So, like, maybe you could put together a lore answer that the ghost shot is so precise it goes through the eye of the Ultralisk, like the only vulnerable part of its head, into its brain. But that still doesn't make it explode. Like, you can kill it, sure.
Well, I mean, the point of, and don't forget, the point of that cinematic is that the Zerg can't be stopped. Like, you need it to look cool, but the Ultralisk has to win.
Yeah.
So what do you pick?
So, like, the ghost takes a shot. It gets through the Ultra's eye, and the Ultra roars in pain. And one of its eyes is, like, gone, but it keeps going. It's just unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
It's all right.
Maybe not as cool as the Viking pilot choosing to
land. I mean, like, I got this.
Just get one shot by an Ultra. It's fun. I mean, for the purposes of what they were trying to do, sure. I get it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So what do our playoffs look like?
Right, but that's the thing. So the answer is Maru's like, I don't need to show anything against Bunny. I can beat Dongrygu, no problem. And he was right about that. And I'll make it to the playoff anyway. It'll be fine.
It's true. I think that was our point last time with the group stage 2.
Right.
Maru was like, yeah, I don't need, like, I'm going to get out of this either way. I don't need to try this week.
Right.
Which
means...
means...
we try some weird TVT stuff. And by golly, it sucks, but it doesn't matter.
Do you think him 3-0 in DRG is a good, like, barometer for how well he's going to do against Dark?
No.
I didn't think so.
Because, like, in all 3 of those games, Tastosis was like, Dark would have held all of these.
It's true.
We don't
but
know why Dongregyu looks so bad right here. He's not dark, but he's not this bad. But dark can hold all of these, is what they said.
Yeah, I totally believe
Yeah.
Dark could hold all of those, but Dark is also the same kind of guy who's just, like, his third base is going to be 40 seconds late for no reason. Right.
Right.
And
And then Maru shows up with a perfectly on point 6 minute and 47 tank marine attack, and Dark's like, oh, I'll hold it, I guess.
yeah. Ugh.
My third late is my economy in shambles. Yeah, but so what? Like what?
So what? I'm still alive.
I'm Dark. What do you want with me? Yeah. That's I don't know, man. Dark's just magic sometimes. Him and Rogue, like they just have little bits. Every one of the elite Zergs have just a little bit of something unexplainable about them. Like Raynor, I swear, could lose 100% of his drones at like the 6-minute mark of the game and be fine.
Right.
Like I do that. I'll cast a game of his. I'm like, 45 drones dead. How will he ever recover? And then I look back 10 seconds later. It's like, oh, he's got 85 drones. Huh.
Right. When did those get?
All right. That's Raynor, I guess.
He has 85 drones and 112 spare lava. What is going on?
Right. I can't explain it. The other Zergs are not as good as he is at just tanking drone losses and just not mattering.
Yeah, Reyna was actually looking really good at the EPT weeklies. I think yesterday. I think that's what it was.
Playing Protoss.
Playing Protoss versus Cure. He was actually looking really good. Yeah.
His Protoss is kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah.
It is.
Boy, that would be funny if the first Protoss to win a major tournament in forever is Raynor off racing. That would be some shame on Protoss players.
That would destroy the Protoss is underpowered argument forever.
Yeah.
Like, you guys just aren't skilled enough. Zerg players are just more skilled. Sorry. And it's proved.
Yeah.
Because you can say that now, but it's like, they're playing a different race. They have all the advantages. Screw Zerg, right?
Yep.
Man, if Raynor did that, that would blow up StarCraft 2.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Every Protoss would have to, like, go to the mountains and just train. Just train alone in the wilderness for like 6 months before they could show themselves again.
Picturing every like Rocky montage of like training fight. They're all like running out there being like chasing dudes on bikes, shouting like, come on, give me 10 more. You know, they're out there lifting tires by themselves and
punching giant sides of beef hanging from metal hooks.
Yeah.
And I want that. Who was the super buff StarCraft 2 player from like a couple weeks ago?
From a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, there was some StarCraft 2 player that showed a body shot and he was like ripped.
Classic?
Was it Classic?
I think it was Classic.
What does Google say about this?
You're just gonna look for ripped nerd.
I'm just looking for classic StarCraft 2 images. I feel like it would.
No, Classic's in military, so it wasn't him.
Oh, okay. A buff StarCraft 2 player, go. Impact.
No?
Yeah, Impact. Yep.
Here's the problem when you're looking for buff StarCraft players. You just get up, just find r/Protoss being like, we need a buff, guys.
Well, if you're in images, though, it got it. It's the first thing that it showed me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's Impact, yeah.
It's so funny because it's like, you're a StarCraft player. You're not supposed to also be ripped. This is not how any of this works.
I mean, Impact's retired, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Because you don't have time to do both of these things.
No, well, I mean, Dark hits the gym a lot. Like, he's not like defined and as photoshopped as Impact is here, but he's got guns. I'll give him that.
That's true. No, that's true. There's varying levels of fitness in StarCraft players.
Yeah.
To do what Impact did is just like, you cannot also be a professional StarCraft player and do this.
The varying levels of fitness in StarCraft are special 6 months ago and special today.
Maybe a year ago. He's been thin for a while.
That's a good point. Yeah. Special a year and 6 months ago, special today.
He was big for a long time.
Yep.
And was it COVID I feel like it
Uh,
was COVID time that all of a sudden he showed up to a thing and was like 200 pounds lighter. And everyone's like, whoa.
yeah. I don't know what
I mean,
happened.
people did different things in lockdown, I guess.
It's true.
I mean, not that you had a lockdown, but some people did.
I mean, my state had a lockdown. I just don't go anywhere by default. I haven't left this building in 2 days. Like,
Everything is a lockdown. Got it.
yeah. Yeah.
When everything's a lockdown, nothing will be.
Mm-hmm. So we're about to wrap up, or is there anything else?
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to highlight some different things here. So you've heard about the Uvalde school shooting in Texas?
Yeah,
from a
I
couple
believe we
weeks.
talked about it.
Yeah. So that's just like a perfect example of horrific police response to a dangerous shooter position, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So then yesterday there was a shooting that was happening at a shopping mall in Indiana.
Okay.
I want to say it is. And yeah, so this random civilian who had a concealed permit
Mm-hmm.
came out of the restroom, saw a shooting was happening, and then in 15 seconds had taken down the shooter.
Oh. Okay.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
anyway, it's just I'm not going to make any political points here. I'm just saying it's kind of incredible how, this one person civilian, not a cop,
mm-hmm.
doesn't have ostensibly the training that a police officer should have in these situations,
Mm-hmm.
was able to do something in a dangerous situation
Mm-hmm.
that 300 cops that were present at the school that day didn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're not
So
gonna make any political points, but you're certainly gonna leave some interesting tidbits and let other people make their own conclusions.
sure,
Yeah.
own
Which is-
conclusions are best conclusions.
It's fair. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad somebody was there. I'm glad
Yeah, me
someone
too.
did something about this
Agreed.
Indiana incident. So that's what I'll say on it.
Yeah.
That's
That's it.
Yep. Okay. Was there anything else?
No, I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap this thing up.
I got one thing, because
Okay.
you know how it's the 19th, but here in Australia it's the 20th.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
You-
struggle with this concept, but
You-
yeah.
yeah, I'm just want to lay that out there, that it is simultaneously 2 days in one.
Correct.
So yesterday, which is still today for you, my sister had another child. So I just want to
Hey.
welcome little baby Grace into the family and the life, and I hope it's long and prosperous.
Yeah.
Words are hard. Prosperous.
Congratulations. Sounds like everyone's healthy. That's always good.
Yes, as far as I'm aware, everyone is healthy. But I'm also I'm having those feelings, but it's also the 20th, and it is the anniversary of In Control. So when you started talking about jacked StarCraft players, I was reminded, because that dude was also ripped.
He was. He lifted.
So, yeah, I just I think we should take a moment to remember In Control.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Jeff.
Yeah, miss you, buddy.
Very talented in more ways than one.
Yep.
Yeah. StarCraft is worse without him.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Well, good. We'll wrap this thing up then, unless there's anything else we need to cover.
I believe that's it.
All right. Excellent. So that's going to be it from us today. This has been Somicron and Falcon Paladin with another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, streamed live at twitch.tv/Somicron. You can check us out there every week, Tuesday night in the United States and like Wednesday morning-ish in Australia.
Accurate.
Yep. You can also support us directly if you want to at patreon.com/Somicron for the podcast, and also get some merch, which also directly supports the podcast at falconpaladin.store. So again, that's going to be it from us. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time, next week, same time, same bat channel. Thanks for listening.